By the end of this video, you will never react the same way again. Not to your boss, not to someone who disrespects you, not to a rival, not to anyone who is quietly trying to get the better of you. Because what I'm about to show you is the strategy that the most powerful people in history never talked about in public. It comes from a general who fought for over 30 years and never lost a single battle, not once. And when historians studied how he did it, they found something nobody expected. He didn't win by being stronger. He didn't win by being louder. He didn't win by fighting harder than everyone else. He won by never needing to fight at all. His name was Sun Tzu, and 2,500 years later, the people at the top of every field are still using his exact methods. Stay with me, because by the time this video ends, you will know exactly how to use them too. Sun Tzu was a Chinese military general. He lived around 500 BC. He wrote a book called The Art of War, 13 chapters, less than 10,000 words. That book has been studied for 2,500 years without stopping, by generals, by emperors, by CEOs, by chess grandmasters, by the coaches of championship sports teams. Not because it teaches you how to attack, but because it teaches you something far more dangerous than that. How to make sure you never have to. Here is the idea most people completely miss. Fighting is expensive. Even when you win, you burn energy, you reveal your tactics, you create enemies who remember, you take damage you never planned for, and most importantly, you prove to everyone watching that the situation got out of your control. Sun Tzu saw this clearly. He wrote, "Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting." Think about what that means. The goal is not to win the fight. The goal is to make the fight unnecessary. Most people ask, how do I beat this person? Sun Tzu asks a completely different question. How do I arrange things so that whatever they do, they lose? That is a different level of thinking. And it produces a different level of results. Sun Tzu wrote one of the most important sentences ever written about power. Victorious warriors win first, and then go to war. Read that again. Win first, then go to war. Most people do the opposite. They go to war first, and then try to win. They react. Someone challenges them. They respond immediately. Someone disrespects them. They fire back. Someone competes with them. They panic. They are always one step behind, because they are always responding to someone else's move. The Sun Tzu approach is completely different. Before the conflict begins, you study the terrain. You understand what the other person wants, what they fear, what they cannot afford to lose. You position yourself so that whatever move they make, it serves your interests. By the time the confrontation arrives, if it arrives at all, you have already won. The battle is just confirmation. Now here is where it gets personal. Think about the last time someone challenged you, disrespected you, tried to get the upper hand. What did you do? If you responded immediately, if you defended yourself, if you tried to prove something, you just handed them the most valuable thing they needed. Information, because the moment you react emotionally, you reveal exactly where your weakness is. Sun Tzu understood this completely. Silence is a weapon, not the silence of someone who has nothing to say. The silence of someone who already knows the outcome and doesn't need to prove it. He writes, "The one who knows when to move and when to wait, that one is the true master." Patience is not weakness. It is the act of letting the enemy exhaust themselves before you spend a single unit of energy. While they are reacting, you are watching. While they are revealing, you are learning. And when the moment comes, and it always comes, you move with complete precision. Because you saw everything, and they saw nothing. This is the most powerful thing Sun Tzu ever wrote. He said, most enemies defeat themselves. All you have to do is give them enough room to do it. Overconfident people overextend. Emotional people make mistakes. Greedy people take risks they haven't calculated. Impatient people show their hand too early. Your job is not to destroy them. Your job is to create the conditions where their own character destroys them. Hold your position. Let them move first. Let them commit. And then respond from a place of complete clarity, because while they were reacting, You are thinking. This works in business, in relationships, in negotiations, in any room where two people want different things. The one who stays calm controls everything. Sun Tzu's lessons were never really about war. They were about this: every conflict you will ever face is decided long before it becomes visible. The person who wins is almost never the loudest, or the most aggressive, or the most reactive. It is the one who was already 3 steps ahead, while everyone else was still deciding whether to fight. So I want you to think about this right now. What is one situation in your life where you have been fighting, when you should have been positioning, where you have been reacting, when you should have been watching? Because the moment you stop being a soldier and start thinking like a strategist, everything changes. If this hit differently than you expected, you already know what channel to come back to. Next week, we go into the man who studied every powerful person who ever lived and wrote down exactly what they all had in common. You do not want to miss that one.